Hey everyone, this is Tyler here. It is September 24th, and quick topic here is why I don't learn Estonia and Estonia. And I believe Russian is much more practical. To this day, I still believe this, and even more so than I did in the first video. And I explain my basis and why I've came to this point, and many people had different opinions on this, and I appreciate the feedback. Firstly here, disclosure is that whether you're Estonian or Russian speaking, I think it's important to be proud of either language, either culture. Embrace what you value. Embrace your family, traditional, all the components of your culture. It's very important to keep these close to you. In my personal life, on my paternal side, my dad's grandparents were Norwegian and Swedish. These heritage, ancestral roots, I think, are really important to keep close, whatever the group is. This is definitely so if you're Russian speaking or Estonian speaking, it doesn't matter. My video though was of course more focused on the practicality of the language and how it's utilized in that country, not on the basis of personal or on cultural ties. I think it's great, honestly, to continue having your own language, to speak to your family, whatever it is. I mean, continue practicing it. But when it comes to practical, professional, day-to-day use, which language is has more of a future, we'd say. And for example, in my country, in America, English, of course, is the first language, but Spanish is becoming by default the second language, and it's at some point it could overtake English, and I understand this. I myself learn and I speak Spanish this day. But with that being said, I still like English. I still believe English to be the primary language of America, but I understand how Spanish has kind of became a major language in the US also. And this is the same with the use of Russian in Estonia. Russian has become more and more popular as time has gone on. Of course, very popular in the Soviet Union. It's probably became very common in the past 5 to 10 years. The Russian speaking population just continues to grow, and it's not just that, but it's the climate of business and in relations between different countries. And I believe that the Russian-speaking countries, not just Russia, but like Belarus, Ukraine, where Russia's primary language, has become more and more common here in Estonia. And more people from those countries have also came to Estonia. Estonia is just very close to Russia. It makes sense for Russian to be a well-spoken language here. If we look at, I think often the younger people now who grow up speaking Estonian, Russian, English, that's probably the best trifecta that you could have in Eastern Europe nowadays. If you could speak those three languages in Estonia, this is probably the best combination. I don't see the influence of Russia and Ukraine going down. I see the influence, especially in Russia, increasing. This will continue in the future. There will probably be more people from Russia who travel here, who come to live or study here or work here. And this is likely to just continue in the future. Russia is the biggest neighbor of Estonia. Russia has always been a heavy influence in Estonia, and I think it will just continue. It's not to say that people can have personal opinions on the Russian culture, on the Russian people. They of course are perfectly able to hold their opinions on what they think, but that doesn't exclude the fact that it's became a very useful and practical language and talent in the rest of Estonia. I mean, I go to so many service sector places, supermarkets, gas stations, restaurants, many places, public transportation. Russian is so common. I'll hear more Russian than Estonian and here in Tallinn. And trust me, I like Estonian. I like the sound of Estonian. Probably more so than Russian, actually. But there's kind of this practicality component there, and it's the same reason I prefer both French and Portuguese to Spanish. I myself learned Spanish. I still to this day prefer the sound of French and Portuguese over Spanish if someone asks me. But out of pure practicality, I learned Spanish because of population and long-term functionality and usability of the language. And it's the same thing with Russian. I think that it serves a very practical purpose for someone that's looking at a language that will continue to be used mainstream in the long term. And you also consider that many other Central Asian countries have Russian as a major language to this day, and the populations in those countries continues to grow at a pretty steady rate. So it serves as a great language, a common language. It's very useful in many different settings and situations. I'll also note too, that just so people are clear, I don't think that Russian-speaking people here are less likely to speak in Russian to foreign people who aren't first language speakers. This I can tell you as a fact. You go over to Russia, you go to Ukraine, and people will almost always prefer speaking to you Russian. I've said this before. This is just how it is. Unless the person has really poor English here, they typically will speak to you in English, and they prefer to. When it comes to many people that I have encountered, that they will say just speak Russian and then Estonian, but they won't speak a lot of English. And absolutely in this case, it's going to be very essential that you either speak one or both of those languages, either Russian or Estonian. With that being said, I don't think you should favor the Russian language just simply because of a condescending mindset towards Estonian or Estonians. I make this very clear. I think you can learn it for practicality and usage of it, and how there's situations and environments that it can be applied. And just I'll repeat this again. I myself like Estonian. I like the language, and I have nothing personal against it. In fact, I would almost like it if Estonia was a mostly Estonian-speaking country. If it was like truly 90% speaking Estonian, that would be awesome. I would actually prefer that over like the half and half situation that we have in Estonia now. But it is what it is now. Still believe that Russian will continue to be very practical and useful language in the future, not necessarily because of the demographics in Estonia, but the relations outside of Estonia and the countries that Estonia will probably be dealing with in the future, and that's just a fact here. This is my opinion on this matter, and I look forward to your feedback below. Thank you.